Gage, good evening.
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited. I've had a decent week, and I'm excited for us to have a little discussion tonight.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited. This is Thursday night. The weekend is almost here. I'm ready to get this weekend started. But first, we have something else that needs to get started. We got to get this show started. Are you ready, Gage? Episode 77 already. Are you ready to
Yes,
get started?
I'm ready as I ever will be.
What? Let's go.
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Good evening. This is episode 77. We are live coming at you 9 p.m. here in New York. I'm joined by my co-host Gage. Gage, how are you, man? Welcome back.
I'm great, man. I'm excited to, be back and have a great discussion.
Hey, before we went on the air, Gage and I, we just talked about how close we are to Royal Rumble season. We got a great main event coming next week at Winter is Coming, which we'll talk about soon. We got day one coming up in 3 weeks, which I'm interested to see where they go from there. We'll hit up on that. And then we're close to WrestleMania season. We're only about 4 weeks away, 5 weeks away. Very excited. This hasn't been a terrible fall season. You can always kind of expect the fall season to take a little bit of a divot in business and ratings because of football and what have you. A lot of different things going on sports wise, especially on Monday nights. But listen, I'm excited. New Year's almost here. This is episode 77. We are past the 3/4 mark to 100 episodes. So we're getting there, man. We're in the middle of season 2. I can't wait, Gage. We're so happy to have you back on. But we got some things to talk about. But first, as I had promised, well, not really promised, mentioned on Twitter, we are going to talk about the big news today. We had the release of Jeff Hardy. This should not really be too much of a surprise. Last week, he was came to his wrestling match on, I believe, Saturday night. He was impaired, whether it was drugs or alcohol. I don't know the full detail, but he was impaired. Halfway through the match, he got off the ring apron and went backstage, never to be seen from again that night. And the description of his condition was fairly vague at the time. But he did not. He was taken off the card the next night. And then we got word today, right around the 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, that Jeff Hardy's been released from WWE. To my understanding, he was offered assistance to get some help. WWE is very good about that, offering their ex-employees help in situations like this. Jeff Hardy refused. I'm not too sure where he goes from there. And to all the wrestling fans, listen, we can speculate where he might go as far as where he's going to wrestle again. But now's not the time to be talking about that at all. So if you're listening to the podcast, watching this YouTube right now, we should not be talking about where Jeff Hardy is going to go next. We should be talking about how we generally care about Jeff Hardy, and the fans care about him. You can see it every Friday night on Smackdown. He gets a huge reaction. A lot of fans relate to Jeff Hardy as a person, as somebody who is transparent, who goes through struggles just like everybody else does. And that resonates with the WWE fans. And that's why he's been getting over so much on Friday nights. So I feel for the guy. I want to see him to get through this once and for all. He's got wife. He's got kids. He's got a family, and unfinished business to do within wrestling as well. So I wish him the best. But Gage, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I definitely I did my research. I did hear that he did get released today, and I didn't necessarily think that this whole, incident was gonna turn out with him getting released or anything like that. When I first heard of it and everything like that, I was very confused. Obviously, fans speculated that, it was back to the addiction, the drugs, alcohol, whatever, he was doing. I thought, because I heard that during that match at that house show that he did walk out on, speculations, people said that he was bumping normally. He was communicating. He was able to understand what the other wrestlers were doing and everything like that. And it seemed like, to me, on first thought, it possibly might have been an injury in the match. That was my first thought. Maybe he got injured and he walked out because he knew he wasn't okay. Maybe it was a concussion. Maybe it was he hit his head, something like that. But then people go into it saying, okay, so now it's, he's back on the thing. And immediately when I said that, I compared it to the incident he had in TNA back in 2011 at Victory Road against Sting. And that terrible, terrible match where he comes out completely drunk and can't even walk, and he's messing around with the crowd, and it's very upsetting that people have to go through these things. And addiction is an incredibly difficult thing to go through, and he's a great person. He's done so much for the wrestling community in his career, and I really hope that he can get through all this, and I hope he turns out very, very okay from this.
He's been very 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 fortunate, but how far is too far? Like when's enough going to be enough with this guy? Like I'm just curious as to where he's been getting his help from over the years. But it's very concerning. This is a multiple number of incidents, and he's very fortunate to even be around right now. But I just hope we got to pray for this guy. I just hope that he gets the right help. I think it's best that he goes and works down south with his brother. This way, there's an accountability there. And just be with his family. Just go home. Go home for now. Be with your family. Let's figure this out. Get the right help. Don't turn down any help, and just make it right. Repent and get back to what you love doing.
Yep.
I would hope that maybe we'll probably see him later on this year, but it's going to be a little while before we see him again. But in this time frame, the best thing we can do is not even talk about, not even speculate where Jeff Hardy is going to go next, but just to kind of hope and have our thoughts with him as he goes to this struggle that so many people in the business have gone through before. Mox is going through it. He's getting the help that he needs, and he's owning it. Good for him. And so we gotta pray for these guys. I mean, even though they're larger than life characters, they're human beings just like us. On the outside, they go in. That's their job. Just the only difference is that's the job that sometimes we dream of having, or dreamt of having. But they're human outside the ring. They're human beings like us. They go through the same life struggles, and we just gotta, hope that this gets handled the right way and going forward. Yeah. So moving on, we have day one coming. But before we talk about that, Superstar looks like WWE, the WWE machine is right behind her. Liv Morgan, great outing against Becky Lynch on Monday night. I was not expecting Liv Morgan to win the title here because I was been expecting a possible another match set up at day one, which I've seen it listed as one of the matches. And then on other sites, I haven't seen it listed, so I'm not too sure what's happening there. I would imagine at the worst case scenario that Liv Morgan is being built up for a WrestleMania win. What do you think?
I think WWE, and this is one thing that they do very, very well, in my opinion. I think WWE is doing a good job at making the fans believe that Liv Morgan can win a title match. They're very good at building up stars, building up that baby face, and then being able to cut the baby face down and make the heel win and just give those fans that roller coaster of emotions. Tell that story of good versus bad. I think almost everybody is behind Liv Morgan. Almost a lot of people were like speculating, like, okay, Liv Morgan's gonna win the title on Raw. She's got her shot at Becky. She's gonna win. No. They're very, very good at, getting people's hopes up. And it's very, very evil sometimes, but it's a business. They have a plan behind it. I personally think that they're saving her title win for day one. I do think, that her winning the title in the new year will be a fresh start. It will be, it's brand new year. We'll be able to have a brand new champion, someone that's never won gold before, and to see Liv Morgan thrive and be that top star and be at the top of the mountain and be able to work with these other women that, she hasn't really messed around with, and be able to have those good quality matches, because she is a very talented young girl, and I'm very, very excited to see where they go with her.
For sure. I'm not certain though she's getting her match at day one.
I don't know if that's not confirmed. I do think that they're going to build it.
Yeah.
But I think that it would be a smart decision. That's not necessarily. I don't know if that to be true, but I do think that's a smart decision. Like you said before, like having her have a WrestleMania moment and having her have a WrestleMania win would be very, very good. If she doesn't win at day one, if that title match doesn't happen, she could possibly win the Royal Rumble, go on to have that WrestleMania moment. There are a lot of things, but then again, like, that's WWE again, having that slow build, messing with the fans, saying, okay, we know what you guys want, and we want to see Liv Morgan be champion, but we're going to make you wait a very long time.
I like the slow build. That's what WWE has not been all that great doing over the years. I like the slow build with Randy Orton and Riddle. I expect them to fight one-on-one at WrestleMania, maybe. But definitely sometime in 2022, I expect that split. We have a very good. Oh boy, okay. I'll get to that in a second, Mike. Yeah, we have. Let's go for it. Breaking news: Jericho hospitalized overseas. Not many details, but don't think it's serious based on the articles. Hopefully, praying he'll be okay. Jeez. Yeah. Hopefully he's okay. Maybe he was just doing a lot this weekend. That's definitely something to keep an eye on. Jeez, I hope he's okay. Jericho has been burning the candle on every end of the spectrum, to say the least. This guy is just absolutely all over the place.
He doesn't stop.
He doesn't stop. But Mike, thanks for sharing about that. Anyhow, where were we? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, WWE does not do a great job with slow builds. Lately, they have. I fully expect Rey Mysterio and his brother and his son Dominic to split up and have a one-on-one match. So, you know what? In that case, if that's the case, they may not even do Randy versus Riddle Mania. I mean, how many split ups are you gonna do and then turn them into feuds for Mania? I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah,
but I definitely see that happening too.
Necessarily with like saying you do split up Riddle and Orton, like that's a Raw tag team gone. Split up Ray and Dominic. That's a Raw tag team gone. Granted, the tag team division isn't very good as it is right now. They do need help in the tag team division. Vince McMahon says he's not a big fan of tag team matches. He's not a big fan of tag team wrestling to begin with. But, say those do happen. You're cutting down two tag teams that are, the two top babyface tag teams behind the Street Profits. You know what I mean?
And not to mention, on Monday night, they just had teased a little bit of dissension between Omos and AJ Styles too. So, that's 3 tag teams possibilities that you could split up and do one-on-one feuds. Will they do that all for Mania? No, absolutely. But I could expect definitely one of that to be happening.
If AJ and Omos do split up, they're not going to fight. They're not. I don't think they're going to have a 1-on-1. I don't think they'll
I don't think Omos is ready.
them split, but they'll stay heel, both of them. They'll make Omos go and do something, and then AJ will go and probably fight Edge.
Well, we'll have to see. I don't see Omos falling by the wayside, but we'll have to find out there what happens there for sure. But getting back to day one, we're about 3 weeks away. Is that 3 weeks?
Yeah,
almost over 3 weeks
like that, yeah.
till 2022. Unbelievable. AJ Styles needs one more title run. It could happen, but sometime next year.
Yep.
So we got day one coming. So here's the confirmed matches. This is what we do know. Okay. We have Big E versus Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Really weird how they've been treating Kevin Owens. They flipped him to heel, and now all of a sudden he's a tweener to a good guy. Very, very convoluted booking with him, if you ask me. That's my opinion, though. And we still don't know if Kevin Owens has extended his contract, if he's extended that or not. I would imagine it would have been reported already, but his contract should be ending soon after day one. I do not expect him to win the match. That's for sure. He might even take the pin.
Yeah.
By Big E. And that's a triple threat for the WWE Championship. I don't think I see that title changing. Big E just got the title.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's definitely where the majority of my thoughts are going. I don't see Big E losing because of how new his title run is. But granted, I think all depending on the contract of Kevin Owens will decide the fact of the match, if that makes sense. I feel like if they really, really want Kevin Owens to stay, they'll tweak it and be like, okay, we'll give you this money, this and that, we'll contract long-term year deal, and we'll also give you the title at day one. They give him the title at day one, but granted, maybe they take the title back off him. Big E gets his rematch and Big E takes it back because they really didn't want to take the title off Big E. But say they, give it back to Big E. Kevin Owens wins the Rumble and then goes to Mania and wins it again. There can be a lot of different things. I'm a big fan of Kevin Owens. I necessarily wouldn't like to see him go due to WWE not having as much star power as they should be using. Granted, WWE's just taking so many losses with, getting rid of talent, and everybody just is splitting up, going to AEW, Impact, etc. They're taking losses and they seem okay with it, and it's very confusing to me. But Kevin Owens will go straight to AEW. He's got these young bucks. He's got everybody. He'll have a home there. He'll fit in.
So that's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens there. I don't expect that title changing. Now this is an interesting one. There are different ways you can go with this, but we have Roman Reigns defending against Brock Lesnar at day one. Brock could win it here. Roman wins it back at Mania, or maybe from what we've heard, there's going to be potentially a series of matches between Reigns and Lesnar. So maybe Lesnar loses again, and then gets his shot at WrestleMania. Maybe he's the Royal Rumble winner again. speculation. I don't think we're seeing Rock versus Brock. I don't think that's happening this year. I think at this point we could forget about that, and maybe I would say next year in LA would be a better spot for that, better venue. Rock's hometown, Rock versus Roman Reigns. And I've even heard that they wanted to do a 2-year title run with Roman Reigns too. So I don't know what's happening here with Roman Reigns' title run. It's been a great title run. I wouldn't be mad if he lost it. I wouldn't be mad if he kept it because he's just been doing such a good job. But here's the problem: like throughout this whole process, there really hasn't been, other than Brock Lesnar and then the possibility of maybe Cena doing another couple matches next year, that there has not been any big stars built and poised to make us believe that one of them could take the title off of Roman Reigns, other than a Lesnar or maybe a Cena, to get his 17th win, unless they want to push Charlotte to that 17th win first. But Gage, what do you think?
Yeah, man. Yeah, this whole Roman and Lesnar thing is just that's another thing. Like, it's extended so long, and I honestly
And they've never had a bad match. Like
no,
I
no,
never complained. Even
no.
the WrestleMania
They put on
31 match
quality
was good.
matches. The whole start of everything at WrestleMania 31 in the main event. That was the start of everything. They've had very solid matches. But it's to the point where they're running out of people, like you said, to, put Brock Lesnar back in that spot, to, take John Cena and put him into that spot and have him wrestle again. They have, what are some top baby faces on SmackDown now? You have, I can't even think. I really don't watch, weekly anymore, but I know that they're, thinking about,
Well, Jeff Hardy would have
yeah,
been poised
Jeff Hardy
for
would
a
have been a good
title shot
contender.
somewhere
You know,
in between all this.
yeah, they have, they can run it back with Cesaro. They're thinking of taking the Intercontinental title off Nakamura. They could do Nakamura versus Reigns.
You know what? That's another thing with the Intercontinental title belt with Nakamura.
It's not doing anything.
When do we ever see IC? Like, I don't even. Sometimes I forget we have an IC champion.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. They need to do something with them, man. They seem like, it seems like Vince McMahon is like admitting defeat, but it's very upsetting. Just put on wrestling. Don't make it a competition. Put out your product and make it as best as you can. Trust in your talent and make them do what they want to do. It's not hard.
So the problem is they don't let guys get over organically, and now they put themselves in a position now. Who other than a Lesnar or maybe a Cena, who in the world can we have Roman Reigns lose to?
I don't know. I have
don't know.
my option.
Maybe you could bring Seth Rollins over into SmackDown at a later date.
I mean, I know they're throwing around Sami Zayn. I would not be upset with Sami Zayn possibly getting added to the title match at day one and having, playing that cocky heel, rolling out to the outside and letting them fight and then come in for a sneaky pin at the end and just take the title. I wouldn't be upset with that. I enjoy Sami Zayn. I like his character. I like how he works. I like how he wrestles. He's very, very talented. One of those people that doesn't get appreciation as much. If he does possibly get added to this title match, him taking the title off Reigns, and letting him run for it, with Reigns obviously probably going to take it back so they can do the thing with Rock.
Or you have Sami Zayn in that match and unfortunately, the way you protect Roman Reigns is have Lesnar pin Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, getting back to the whole Liv Morgan thing, a couple little side notes I wanted to mention, and I've lost my thought.
Sure.
Notice that Becky Lynch had cheated with the hand on the rope.
Yeah.
Notice that WWE went out of the way to take the camera shot of that plant girl who did such an amazing job acting like the angry Miz girl. So I know they are building to a Liv Morgan,
Yeah, that was funny.
women's title win for sure.
And
When that
we
is,
saw that it was the same cheating factor as they did with her match with Charlotte at Survivor Series.
Yep.
It was the same little roll up. So they're still dragging that, building them, and it's like we said, it's a slow build.
One of our listeners, Mike Mazza, had brought up the fact that maybe one or two people could be called up to be built as a possible contender, which is all well and great, but then you need to book it right. So one of the names that was brought up by Mike was Ciampa or maybe Walter. That would be huge.
Very.
Walter is believable. Start fresh. Give him the title win right away. For sure. Build him up for a couple months. We know his reputation in NXT UK. They don't need to build him up for a whole year before slapping a title on Walter. You could absolutely do that for sure. I just feel like there could be a story to tell with the head of the table, Roman Reigns, and The Rock, and like that's a story that they're gonna. I think they're definitely gonna tell, but it seems like it's not gonna be until next year. In my opinion, it's gonna be in LA. Makes sense. So how they get there, that should be very interesting. Can you do a good couple month title reign? Oh yeah, for sure. And then when you do Rock and Roman next year, Roman sure as heck isn't taking the loss. So it would just to further boost The Rock on another level than he's already been lately.
Think that it's gonna you think The Rock's gonna get into that title run by possibly winning the Rumble, or do you think it's just gonna go just them?
I think you could. I think that would be a good way to bring him in at either Survivor Series, or bring him in for the Rumble as a surprise entrance. Now, the reason why I'm pretty much sold on The Rock not being there this year's WrestleMania is because he should have been there in Brooklyn at Survivor Series. It makes no sense. They had a tribute show for him, 25th anniversary, almost to the day from when he had his debut match at Madison Square Garden, Survivor Series 96, which I was at, by the way. And I got to see The Rock's debut 25 years ago already. Unbelievable. And anyhow, what's up, Necktie? How you doing, man? Good to see you again.
I was actually at Survivor Series this year.
How was the crowd, by the way? Was the arena full?
It was okay. It was okay.
Next night I heard was barely 50%.
Yeah, no, it was okay. The one problem is I did go to Raw at UBS like 2 weeks ago or something like that. That crowd was pretty empty. That was actually a solid show. I did enjoy the time there. Actually, fun fact, I sat behind Damian Priest's family the whole night. It was pretty funny. I got fourth row, so
nice.
It was fun.
So The Rock should have been there. I mean, I bet you people bought tickets in anticipation that The Rock would probably make a surprise appearance at his own 25th anniversary tribute show in Brooklyn's Barclays Center, of all places, and it didn't happen. To me,
well, rumor has it he was actually out of the country filming a movie.
The WWE did not even need to bother doing this. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said. Slow build. If they knew they wanted to do it in Hollywood, so at WrestleMania next year, in order to possibly it's The Rock's backyard, Hollywood, whatever.
Yeah, next year, LA WrestleMania 39. I've always wanted to go to a West Coast WrestleMania. a nice 4 o'clock start. Get out of there by 8 o'clock. Get some food afterwards. Just chill and what have you. I think it'll be pretty cool to go to a West Coast WrestleMania. It's always something I've always wanted to do. WrestleMania 39 is happening next year. I think we're calling it now that Rock will be at WrestleMania next year against Roman Reigns. We like to call stuff in advance, and a lot of times we're right. We do get it wrong every now and then, though. But
I agree.
let me see. Yeah, Wayne, WWE shouldn't have even acknowledged it. I totally agree there. And it just made no sense as a fan. And I was even telling some of the guys earlier that The Rock is showing up tonight, and I was actually almost tempted to buy a ticket for WWE Survivor Series at Brooklyn. And we were in the area. We went to a wedding that day. We were going to think about doing an after party because the Survivor Series didn't start till 8. Wedding was at 2. But we just didn't feel like dealing with the nonsense. We were in our suits. I didn't bring any clothes. Tickets were still cheap. But we just didn't want to deal with the aggravation of trying to make it and parking and stuff like that. We could have taken a subway, but whatever. We didn't really plan for it. Yeah, you're right. WWE should not acknowledge it. So moving on. Another confirmed match. We got the Usos and New Day. The Usos versus New Day for Smackdown tag team titles. That's looking like that's going to happen. No surprise there. They've been building that for a couple of weeks. I can't honestly tell you who's going to win that. I expect a good match, potential match of the night. I have one rule of thumb: never bet against the New Day. Every time I try to bet against the New Day, I always lose more than I win, and I always get that wrong. So I have a feeling New Day might. I see you, Necktie. You're at WrestleMania 19. You were severely underestimating the traffic for a big event like that. Hey, listen. Which event we're talking about? Anyhow, yeah. If you're referring to WrestleMania 39 in LA, that traffic is going to be horrendous.
Probably, yeah.
Oh yeah, Los Angeles traffic. You got to give yourself 3 times the amount of time it actually takes to get there on time. Okay, yeah, I sort of figured. The traffic at LA is going to be nuts. I'm strategically going to plan an Airbnb within 5 minutes, but even with 5 minutes away, it's still going to take me a half hour to get there. So I'm going to try to do some. I got to figure that out. But the LA traffic is bad over there. An absolute nightmare. It is horrible. Like half your vacation is spent trying to get in and out of LA if you want to do something.
Yeah, man. What we got next?
And then we got Edge versus Miz. You know, it's just there.
Yeah.
I can't recall seeing an Edge versus Miz match. And if so, it hasn't happened in a very long time. Maybe
it seems like something
2007,
like
2008, somewhere around there. Miz's early years. It's a fresh matchup. Will it be good? I honestly don't know. I hope so. I can't sit here and say yes or say no.
I mean, I hope so. I know the promo.
I could see the Miz winning, by the way.
What happened?
I could see the Miz winning, by the way, since Maurice will be back. Or there's definitely going to be some interference either way.
Yeah, no. If they give him the Miz, a win, that's, he has Maurice back and everything like that. She can easily, help him cheat or whatever. But having Edge be on these up and downs with like quote unquote the new guys, Miz not really being a new guy, to Edge, but having Edge take like little losses to like the Miz, like that's good build. Like that's building the Miz as, the great heel that he is. That's making Edge, slowly become this, the rated R superstar again, slowly get sadistic like he did with Seth Rollins, going more at some more new people like AJ Styles is probably the rumored next opponent for him. I feel like Edge is doing like the same thing as like CM Punk is doing in AEW. You know, it's the older guy, and they just want to fight with the new guys. That's it. There's no titles really. It's just they want to wrestle with the new guys, and they want to do wrestling again.
Moving on, we had NXT 2.0. We're not really going to talk about the baby. It's just it is what it was. Couple cool spots. Oh yeah, we're moving on. We're gonna get to that in a second, Mike. But really quick, NXT 2.0. It was just there. I was kind of napping in between. Some good spots.
You watch
But-
War Games?
Yes. Yeah.
I liked it.
NXT Wargames. It was okay.
I think it was solid.
Nothing to ride home about in comparison to the takeovers that we've had.
I agree with that. I agree.
So my expectation was a little higher, and it just wasn't quite met. So maybe I should have lowered my expectations a little bit. Not a bad show. I was watching, but I fell asleep a little bit.
Yeah, I know exactly what they're doing with NXT 2.0. You know, they're trying to highlight the new people. You know, I get that, WWE fans aren't necessarily behind all these new people yet, but you got to give them a chance. You got to do this and that. You know, they're obviously taking out all the old people. You know, they're probably going to take the title off of Ciampa, give it to Braun Breaker. You know, they have, Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly, quote unquote, gone now, with the contracts and everything, which I know, we can talk about if you want.
Yeah. So really quick, news that we just got a little earlier, less than an hour ago. Sean Ross Sapp, great guy. I met him a few weeks ago. We got talking a little bit. One of the most reliable sources in the business right now. But he just announced that Johnny Gargano did not sign his extension. He becomes a free agent tonight. I don't know if that includes 90-day clause or not. However, rest assured, we won't be seeing Johnny Gargano for a while anyway, because him and his wife Candice have been busy, and as a result, they will be having a baby in February. So I don't think we see him until maybe close to the halfway mark of next year. Where he lands up, I don't know. So that's a good question that remains. WWE loves him. There's no doubt in my mind that they could probably get a deal done. I think Gargano would probably benefit by sticking around if he is built and booked right on the main roster. You gotta build new stars here. So this is your opportunity. And then Kyle O'Reilly, he's pretty much as good as gone, in my opinion. I think he goes to AEW to join Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. That would make sense. And the Young Bucks there with the Super Click. So that would be good to see. I think the fans would like that.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I think it's a great. So let me see what we got here. Honest opinion from you both. How long does NXT 2.0 last? Will it flounders appear, or will it continue on as 2.0 or get rebooted again? I think it sticks around for a while, but I think eventually it might climb off of USA and just remain on a Peacock network. I think that's very well what could happen. And then what happens after that, I couldn't tell you. Like, hopefully they keep it around. I just this whole unicorn presentation just bothered me, to be honest with you.
I can understand that.
I don't like it. I don't like the presentation. I was very happy the way the Capitol Wrestling Center was. That was pretty cool. And then once they brought the fans back, it just made it so much better. So, yep, Vince McMahon took away one of the only things that a lot of WWE fans only really liked. Raw and SmackDown have both gotten a little bit better. I see more effort. Sometimes the booking makes no sense, which we covered on the last episode. Yeah, so Gargano, I don't know where he lands up, to be honest with you, but no contract for now. It's probably just going to take the months to think it over and just, be with his wife and his newborn soon. And Kyle O'Reilly, I think we expect them. I expect them to land up in AEW for sure. And AEW's roster is getting too big. They're going to need to trim the fat there. But speaking of which, last night's AEW Dynamite, which was kind of interesting to open the show. Now, Gage, let me ask you, why did they have to make CM Punk act like the heel here? I mean, I get the New York Chicago rivalry. He's
Yeah.
a huge Chicago Blackhawk fan. Like it is like putting salt in the wound right now to Islander fans. I get it, but did they really need to do that? And it was a great promo. I loved it, but did they really need to do that?
Yeah, they did. I think so. Well, they have to make MJF look good in Long Island. That's the only reason. MJF had the crowd in the palm of his hands the entire night. Every time he was out there, MJF was the talk. You know, they had all the other, Long Island wrestlers. You know, they had Chris Statlander, Max Caster. They had who else? I don't remember. But they have
Oh, Trent Beretta showed up.
Oh yeah, Trent. Yes. Trent showed up.
I didn't see that coming.
I know they had some other, local indie wrestlers on Long Island that some other people may not know of. I do know of because I'm from Long Island. But I think, giving Long Island MJF being, the glorified man that he is in AEW, I do think that they needed to get that reaction out of, having Punk come out to his theme song, thinking that MJF's coming out. Yay, MJF. But no, Punk comes out. Punk got booed, man. Punk got booed.
So here's the thing, and the commentators are playing into it too. He's like, they're like, MJF represents all Long Islanders. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait. Most Long Islanders do not act like MJF, which most people consider, and the commentators consider MJF a douchebag. Okay? So there are some douchebags on Long Island, but that doesn't represent all of the male geographic of Long Island. Not one bit. So he does not represent me. I like his heel work, but he doesn't represent Long Island. He's not what Long Island is all about. Nope. So they should have kind of continued with the heel work. If the fans want to cheer him, fine. He's from Long Island. Great. Big pop. I get it. But don't play into the good guy and then, flip both characters. I don't think that really needs to be needed. If fans want to boo Punk, go right ahead. But that felt forced. But I digress. I did like, I listen, don't get me wrong. I like the work that both of them did. I mean, CM Punk had the crowd in the palm of his hand. MJF, and then that little, and he wins the ring, the diamond. So the battle for the ring they're doing next week again, the diamond ring. So that was the battle royal. So he wins with what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. What, Ricky Starks and who was that other guy?
Dante Martin,
Ricky Starks are the last two guys. When you see Dante Martin turn on Ricky Starks from behind, whom they're supposed to be, Dante Martin's supposed to be with Team Taz now, but Dante Martin throws Ricky Starks out. Then we see MJF and Dante Martin shake hands. Cool. MJF looks like the face here, and like he's really, really playing it up. Let me see. He represents Wall Street, Long Island, referring to MJF. Yeah, that could be a little bit more accurate. But yeah, moving on. Yeah, then we see Dante Martin. MJF goes up the ramp, and Ricky Starks comes back in the ring, beating up Dante Martin. And then MJF is torn if he should come back to the ring. And he does, and he gets that huge pop again. It gets in Ricky Starks' face, and it's got that huge face pop reaction. Great. MJF had the crowd in the palm of his hand because of his hometown. And you got a little face turn going. And then all of a sudden, they both start beating up on Dante Martin, and now comes CM Punk to booze again, and that's how that ends up. So it was interesting to see how the wrestlers were playing to the crowd, which was fine, but that all didn't need to be done. I mean, I think they should have just kept down with the program and just come out to the organic chants and the organic pops. But what have you. CM Punk even said in the middle of his promo that he was kind of having fun. Yeah, Yokozuna's behind me, right behind me on the screen. That big butt right there over my left shoulder. In a chokehold on Shawn Michaels. That was Survivor Series 95 from DC. Will Punk's first loss be at the hands of MJF?
Should be.
I
Should be.
do not know. It very well could be, but I wouldn't do it cleanly.
No, never.
You got to protect that finish.
No, I think MJF can benefit very much from beating Punk, being the first person to beat Punk. I think it definitely can be the possibility of putting him into that main event spot, possibly fighting Hangman Adam Page, possibly putting him into that title opportunity, possibly making him AEW World Champion, kind of, getting him to run the show, I think is, what AEW eventually wants to do, but I don't necessarily know how soon they'll do it. But with beating Punk will definitely be a big step into them doing that. Because I know that that's something that, they talk about, the four guys or, the young guys that are, very, very young. They're going to be the guys there for the next 20 years. It's the MJFs, the Jungle Boy, the Sammy Guevara, there's a lot of
Brett
young.
Baker, one of the four pillars.
Yeah, the four pillars. So they're having MJF take that step is definitely, in my opinion, a good thing to do.
Yeah, not to mention they got to start thinking about some heel opponents going forward for Hangman Page this year. You have the Adam Cole looming.
Yes.
He very well could be in that role. I think he's going to be the guy to beat Hangman later in the year. Anyway, AEW's booking's kind of a little unpredictable sometimes. I don't know what they got next. I mean, they could have Adam Cole next, or they could save him. I don't know what they're doing. And I guess we got to expect that maybe Kenny Omega will have a return match later, much later in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would imagine MJF will probably be a contender a little bit later in the year, not to mention Miro. Where's he been? But
didn't he have like a little?
Maybe he's out making a baby. I don't know.
Like he had a little like a video capture, like a little package that they put on him or something. He had like a little.
Was that shown last night
on social media? It was just him talking about crushing people.
All right, maybe I missed it. I was fast forwarding through a lot of stuff last night. Or should I say today? I was fast forwarding through the lesser important stuff. I can get back to it later, like the tag matches and stuff.
But he does have an opponent that's coming up soon at Winter's Coming. Which seeing Brian in that heel spot again, is different. Necessarily, I'm saying different as in, in the AEW scene of it. It's different. He came in and he, was, this beloved babyface. Oh, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, but having, the whole tournament outcome, like obviously, you could have speculated that he would have won because of the popularity. That's how AEW books, but, it's in a way that, if they want to do babyface versus babyface, there has to be an aggressor. Daniel Bryan has Bryan Danielson. I keep calling him Daniel Bryan. I'm so used to it.
That's fine. That's an allowable
very,
mistake. I mean, at least it could be better. At least it's better than me calling MJF Miz and Miz MJF. I do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's a big difference, trust me. But having Bryan Danielson, he's been in that aggressor spot. He has had some very, very good heel work in WWE in the past. In 2019, he can he can lead this match, and I feel like not necessarily walking out champion, but going in and making Hangman look good, I think is what he's gonna do.
So we're going to talk about a little bit. We're going to take a couple more moments to talk about Winter's Coming really quick. But just so you guys know, our Deep Six Pro Wrestling podcast, if you guys haven't, make sure you share this with your friends. Make sure they're subscribed. We have some big things coming. We don't know for sure, but we think we're going to start our rebranding on day one. So we figured maybe we could do day one of our Aftermath Pro Wrestling podcast when we finally make that switch. We think we might do it on day one. If we miss the boat on that, it'll probably be around Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. We'll keep you guys posted. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Share with your friends. Help us out. Post it on Facebook or whatever. Twitter, whatever social media you guys are on. But we're also available on iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and soon, hopefully, we'll be available on some radio stations out in New Jersey too. So we'll see what's happening with that. So we'll
I like it.
announce all that news when it's available, and since once we have some dates. You know what? I would not mind a heel podcaster.
Hey, I can do it. You want me to be here? I'll be here.
We'll have to figure that out.
Hey,
do that. I try to be.
I'll
I
immediately
try to flip
change
sometimes.
everything. I'll do it. I work baby face, but if you need a heel, I have thoughts back in that. I always keep things in the back of my pocket. I take notes every day. If something crosses my mind, I write it down. I got
Winter is coming, and you know what? Last year's Winter is Coming was big. Winter is Coming is next Wednesday. Last year we had the appearance of Sting. Let me ask you, do we get the appearance of Bray Wyatt next week?
No.
Okay, fair enough. I don't really see a possibility of how they would go about doing that. Like, I haven't seen any builds.
I don't think he's going to show up for a while.
Okay.
I think it's it's another situation like with other releases, like we just talked about Jeff Hardy, Johnny Gargano. There are people that I think should take a break for a while and try to work in their personal lives.
How about Kyle O'Reilly?
No, he'll go straight there.
Could we get him next Wednesday?
No, I think he has a no compete clause. No,
he might, but stranger things have happened.
I think he has like 30 days.
Okay,
probably a month.
Let me tell you, Netai, Pat McAfee is something else on SmackDown. I love his commentary. He's one of the best. He is one of the best right now. I can't say if I consider him better than like a Heyman or a Heenan. I think time will tell. So let's let it ride out, and then we can figure that out. But Pat McAfee is doing some heck of a job, especially when Nakamura and Rick Boogs comes out. I can't stand that. Yeah. But Pat McAfee makes that segment exciting to watch. And the dancing on the table, his antics, his spitting out of the water, him and Michael Cole dynamic, just phenomenal on Friday nights. I love listening to Pat McAfee. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up with a little quick Winter's Coming talk. So to continue on, we have Hangman defending his title against Daniel Bryan. I do not see. No, this title reign just started. Hangman's gonna win this match next Wednesday. Maybe could set up for a return match later on. But I definitely see Hangman winning. And then we had another. Riho is challenging Britt Baker for her women's title. I don't think I see that title changing here too, but I expect that to be a very good match as well. I mean, I don't know what
really,
can happen. Can anything good happen next week other than good matches? Like, I feel
mean,
like somebody might show up. I don't know. Like, what is
yeah,
there to do?
I mean, I feel like in the position AEW is in right now, having someone show up, like they're having like, oh, everybody show up. Oh my God, there's a big show up. Oh my God, there's a big debut. This and that. Like,
they've conditioned AEW fans to expect that now.
yeah, but that's not a good thing.
They need to. Their roster is getting too big. They need to trim that roster, whatever they're not using.
Their roster's huge, Wayne.
Yeah, they got to trim it down, and it's probably going to happen next year.
It's, I know, because like, I don't know if you heard, like, one of their women, Big Swole, she just got released. I know that there's like Brian Cage, I think, is looking for a release.
I heard about that.
You know, he's not, you know, like there are people that are leaving AEW because, you know, they're not necessarily in those positions that they thought they were going to be. Like Brian Cage got treated pretty well in the beginning. But we haven't seen him in months. You know what I mean? Like having such a large roster and not having, you know, enough available time for everybody to show what they got it's very, very difficult. And if they just keep having the, I don't know if I want to say ego of just wanting to take every single wrestler that WWE releases or they're taking their contract, that's just adding to the chaos that they don't know how to control in the first place. And I think that having another debut is just going to be, it's going to be talked about for a week, and then they're just going to go on AEW Dark and wrestle, you know, Connor Starr, you know, some idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same old stuff.
I feel like I'm leaning towards possibly no appearances because I just can't think of a scenario you could even bring Bray Wyatt in right now. Kyle O'Reilly, you know, we speculate 30 days. Definitely not Gargano. So I really can't think of any appearances, but maybe Revolution. But we'll have to see. That's February, by the way. Oh, and they also announced AEW Dynamite's doing a show at Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City. I was thinking about doing that, but tickets go on sale December 17th. I'm not too sure if I'll pull the trigger on that with Christmas shopping to do.
I was thinking about
Home of WrestleMania 4 and 5. I've always wanted to go there.
I was thinking about going to AEW last night. I was thinking about it because
Somebody called me, and I was already working. I had changed my shift.
I knew I was going to be busy too, but I was thinking about it like when tickets went on sale. I was thinking about it because I do have a connection in AEW. I know one of the wrestlers, but I could have asked him if, you know, he can see if I can, you know, come, but you know, I didn't want to bother him. He's busy. He's kicking butt. So
Awesome, man. Awesome. Let me see. Necktie. They can take some lower level guys who still need work and use Dark and Elevation to be more must see shows with bigger names and better matches. Yeah, I mean, if you want eyes on Dark and Elevation, make some better matches. So I being at AEW Dynamite in September and then Rampage, we sat through 2 hours of Elevation before Rampage, and then a couple other dark matches. It was just horrible.
That's like a pre-show. They record all of that.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and with Dynamite, they record like an hour of dark. I get the two shows confused, but I'm pretty sure it's dark. And it's all squash matches, and
jobber matches.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they're kind of using it as like a stage, you know, for seeing what they got, so to speak. But I'm thinking that maybe they should just kind of put Rampage and Dynamite together and Dark and Elevation just
they
go
should
away. I don't know.
Rampage and Dynamite into the brand versus brand, Raw versus SmackDown type,
I'm done with
and
the brand versus brand split.
and have a brand split.
I mean, listen, AEW's got the roster to do a brand split better than
100%.
WWE would do, but I'm just so done with the whole brand split at WWE. I don't know if I would want to see that right now. WWE is in a position where they need to merge the brands. The brand split needs to go. Like, you got competition now with AEW and other promotions, which I don't really consider too much competition, but you have other options. So you need to step up your game instead of having a brand split and competing with yourselves and trying to make everybody believe it's two separate organizations. It's not. It's too convoluted. They don't have the tag teams to support the amount of tag teams to support why they should have two different tag titles. The women's division is not big enough to support why they should have two different women's titles. They don't need two different men's titles either. It's just ridiculous. And with the trimming down of the roster, they gotta merge it. Listen, if Fox wants Roman Reigns, cool. Keep Roman Reigns on Fox. Let him show up on Raw, somewhat frequently, and then what have you, and bounce it around a little bit.
Especially with like the women's tag team champions having, the tag team champions on Raw, and then having them, fight, say a SmackDown tag team. It's so confusing having to. They're just bouncing the titles on Raw, and they're not giving shots to anybody on SmackDown because of the brand split. There's no way you can have, all those matches unless, you do something weird at a house show. You know what I mean? Like dark matches on television. Like, I've seen, when I went to Raw like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, like there was a dark match. It was Reigns and the Usos versus McIntyre and Kofi and Woods in a 6-man tag. That was a solid match that didn't get televised, obviously. But it's certain things like that, like you can have, the SmackDown people or the Raw people, depending on the show, they can't televise, they can't have that title change, which is strange to me. I don't know why they do it or how they're gonna continue to do it, but we'll see.
Well, that pretty much wraps up episode 77. We are the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast for not for too much longer, as we will do a name change hopefully by the new year. We will keep you guys posted on that, but make sure you guys are subscribed on YouTube. Next week, we will have a special Aftermath episode covering what we just saw. Winter is Coming. Shouldn't be a long show. But our special edition of the Aftermath will be live immediately after AEW Dynamite. Tommy will be back, so make sure you guys are subscribed on YouTube, Twitter. That episode next week will not be on any podcast platforms. That would be YouTube only. And then episode 78 could very well be next week too. But man, we are getting into the holidays. This year is wrapping up. WrestleMania season's almost upon us. Yeah, let's hope we have a good season coming up, man. Yeah, Tommy attracts the ladies, apparently.
That's my job.
Oh, man.
I'm here now. I could do that.
Gage, do you have any last-minute thoughts before we go off the air?
No, I mean, guys, honestly, we talk about WWE, we talk about AEW. I think I'm here for the wrestling aspect. There's talks about this and that. I feel like, guys, when it comes down to it, if you think that there's something that, is going to happen or whatever, just remember you're enjoying wrestling. Watch the wrestling, understand the wrestling, and wrestling's good if you get the right people, you get the right, kind of content and everything like that. It's such a great art. and something that I love and I personally, like to, continue to do. But I just want to thank everybody for stopping by and hanging out with us tonight. I know, Wayne really appreciates everything as well. But I'm very excited for the new year and what wrestling is going to bring.
Behind me is Big Daddy Cool versus Brett the Hitman Hart for the Survivor Series 95. So I am going to I am going to watch the end of this match because not the most technical match, but Diesel and Bret Hart brought the best out of each other as far as storytelling.
I met Diesel.
So I'm definitely gonna watch that. I would like to meet him. I know he was out in Comac, if I'm not mistaken, doing autographs at the Wrestling Universe.
It was in Hicksville.
Okay.
Long Island.
There's a couple
At a,
locations that Jack Sabbath from the old days of ICW, he owns the Wrestling Universe in Comac, and he has guys there. And then he has a couple even out west too, in Queens. Queens is one of his big locations. So I gotta check that out. But cool. So anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight and interacting. Those for you guys that are listening, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube as we get some more content coming out next week. In the meantime, Gage, have an awesome night. We'll catch you all later.
You too, my friend. Have a good night, guys.